oh, I'm got this event, you're going to see it, and the whole lead up, right? So they show up, and 100 of them have the event where the knee pops. Over 90% of them are quitting.
Yeah.
Some of them will do it there and then.
10%
some of them will go out and give
it
it a try.
At getting, they call it a DNF, like do not finish. But it's a normal thing. It's not an uncommon thing for people to get DNFs in these long distance events. An Ironman,
like, and most people will come to terms with it. They'll be like, "Hey, look, you gave it a shot, and that's good." What I'm trying to figure out, right, is see the people that don't. Yeah. People want to know what that is. Like, I know what you're talking about. I've faced those situations. You can take the easy road. You don't need to go any harder. You like, look, you've done well. You've put on this yourself. Training. You've gave yourself a good account. You've everybody will be proud of what you've done. Nobody would run in that. You're going to cause yourself more damage. It's wiser to stop. Yeah. No.
I think for me personally, and it kind of leads back to who I ended up developing as a person with my anxieties as a kid. And I think it's the fear of judgment. And it's not like I don't have a fear of quitting at all. It just doesn't, it's not really in my vocabulary. And sometimes I was actually reading an article quite recently, and it was comparing quitting to failing. And a lot of people put up with certain circumstances, whether it's a university course that they absolutely despise, whether it's a relationship that depresses them, a marriage that hurts them, and they don't want to be seen to be quitting that because it's almost related to failure, when actually a lot of time you could choose to quit and it could be quite an empowering choice, because people are taking that power within themselves and choosing to end that university degree or course and choose another one, or to file the papers for a divorce in that marriage that's not working. And it can be a super empowering decision to make, and it can almost open fresh doors up to new possibilities. But for me, quitting when I've chosen to do something, I mean, don't get me wrong, if I was in a university course or a job that I didn't enjoy, I don't think I would see quitting as a failure. Like, even when I left the Navy, I seen it as new opportunities. But when it comes to something that I've chosen to do, and especially if it's fitness related, like, I know I can push myself pretty far. I've sort of looked at those dark moments. I've went out on that day with one objective, and that's to finish this. And I think that I would need to be in a very bad way if I wasn't going to look to finish that particular event, or I would need to look within myself and say, you know what, it's not worth going on. But I think when it came to the Ironman, when I looked at my knee and I seen the size of it, and I felt as bad as what I did, and a few tears rolled down my face at one point, I thought, nah, like, that's not a choice that I'm taking this day. It's I'm finishing this. My knee's not going to fall off. And I'm going to see that finish line. And I think I could probably relate that to how would I tell people if I didn't finish, how would I feel then? How would I beat myself up about that?
The choice of facing that you're a quitter, exactly, you gave up, is worse than this pain. Hey, can I bear it?
You can heal.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be that bad.
Well, I blew the knee out. It's not going to start here. Like, if I stop now, it's not going to get any better. I might as well see if I can crack on to the finish. Yeah. But how many people do you like see that switch, see that decision that so few people make? How many people do you think want to be able to do that?
I think for me, I would say it leads down to people's background and where they've been and how they've looked within themselves. And if they've never took themselves to that place, you don't know what it feels like. You don't know what it's going to look like ahead of you. So, and not to say that you need to run an Ironman or train for an Ironman to get to that moment, but you can push yourself to limits within a job, within anything. It's just training your mind to be strong enough to push these boundaries. And I think the people that's never done it, the people that's never looked to that side of themselves, you would think, well, my knees hurt, so it's a great excuse, or it's not even an excuse, it's just I'm hurt, so that means I can't finish, rather than, well, I'm going to finish. It's just not going to be the time that I want. I'm maybe going to be disheartened with myself because I've not finished it as fast as I was like, but I've still finished. I've still got that medal at the end of the day. And again, that's what allowed me to fall in love with that endurance sports, not only just the Ironman, but pushing those boundaries to learn something a little bit about yourself and to build up that resilience and to show myself that, you know what, my mind's actually a lot stronger than a lot of other people's, for one, but a lot stronger than I would maybe give it credit for. And again, I could sort of relate that to January 2023. I decided for Dod Aid to run 101 miles, it turned out to be. But I always wanted, after the Ironman, I always wanted to do an ultra. It's always been on my list, my bucket list of things to do. Again, if I'm capable of doing it. And I always like to push myself at least once a year, whether it's 1 year I ran from Portobello Beach in Edinburgh to Glasgow for a 24-hour event. I initially set out to run from Portobello Beach to Glasgow and then back again. That would have been 100 miles. Turns out I just ran from Portobello Beach to Glasgow and it was on tarmac the whole way, so my hips were just destroyed. Got to the SECC, clocked up the 50 miles, phoned my partner who was like running with me that day but was miles back. She decided she wasn't going ahead. I decided, well, I'm not gaining anything from this. It's not for anything. I'm not raising money for anything, so I can happily choose to not run back. And
I bet you feel like a quitter.
Technically quit. I didn't that day. I didn't, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd fucking remind you that. I would remind you that all the time.
But you try running 50 miles on tarmac.
You could have fucking done the 100.
I could have.
You done the 100 and you copped out, boy.
But that's maybe where some people go wrong, and it's what incentive, what's the end result. And I didn't have an end result that day because it was just I'm doing this for myself. Whereas the Ironman, the 100 miles, that was I had an objective, and